of course.
Oh, and we also have Guillaume. Guillaume in the house.
Hello, what's up?
Bonjour, bonjour.
Hi,
Hi, Hamid. Hi, Faisal Ali.
hi,
How,
Gilma.
how's sunny Arizona?
It's getting cooler, finally.
Cooling down now. Like it.
Yeah,
Awesome,
no, it's
awesome.
nice now. It's like the nice season starting.
That's good, man. All right, well, I'll kick things off. Welcome everyone to ArchiTech Network number 28. Let's talk parametric architecture with Hamid Hassanzadeh. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Also,
Quiet.
also, I have to apologize. I just realized I misspelled your surname in the poster. I just realized. I was like, damn it. So apologies. I missed that. I missed
No,
an
it's
S out.
okay.
But to give you a little bit of an introduction, so Hamid is an Iranian architect, entrepreneur, researcher, and speaker, a man of many talents. And he's the founder and creative director of Parametric Architecture, which has over a million followers and people that interact with his various platforms, which are on Instagram is kind of your primary spearhead, and then you're also on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, which you founded in 2016, correct?
Yes, right.
Yeah, and yeah, no, thank you for having us on the show. We're super excited to talk to you about parametric architecture, the role of social media, and the power of online platforms. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that introduction, anything I missed out, but thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you so much. No, it was perfect and a nice introduction. Thank you for that. And I'm so excited to be here as well. And really appreciate that you gave me an opportunity to talk in this series as well. So excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. No, we're equally as excited, and it was great to talk to you at or see you at Next Six, which, if anyone hasn't tuned in, is these awesome kind of talks you do. Are you doing them once a month, roughly, or
Quite in 3 months, once
yeah,
in
once
three
every three
months.
months?
But it can be 2.5 months as well.
Do you
But
know, time
monthly could be so hard.
time flies. It does. I swear there was like Next five like a month ago, and then Next Six was last month. I was like, damn it. It just shows you how time is flying. Anyway, for anyone who hasn't
Exactly.
checked it out, check out Parametric Architecture's next conference. It's full of really great speakers. I've already tuned into a couple as well as doing the last one. But I thought maybe a great way to start this off is to kind of talk a little bit about how you actually founded parametric architecture and like some of the key moments. So I've heard you talk about it before in some snippets I found online, but it'd be great to hear like how you started it. And so, from what I understand, you started it as a way to kind of just start posting your own work, right? Or how did you start off with parametric architecture?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to talk about it actually. Basically, let me go back a couple of years back to 2008, 2007, when I was trying to enter university and I didn't know absolutely what architecture is. And I always had a look at mathematics, physics. I would love to, back then, is to study physics or quantum physics at the university. But when I entered the exams on the university exams, I couldn't have quite the numbers, the required numbers to enter to the majors that I wanted to pursue. But my brother offered me maybe I can study architecture, and I absolutely had no idea what architecture is. I just had some hints that okay, architects build buildings or these kind of stuff, but not in details. I didn't know what architects were doing. So I chose this major and I studied architecture in Tabriz in Iran for 4 years. I got my bachelor's degree. Then I had a good and deep understanding of architecture. I worked a lot, and I'm a workaholic person, and I worked a lot during that 4 years, and I gained a lot of experiences. And I had my own, like a couple of projects coming as a freelance. Then I had my 2 years of military service back in Iran. So a tough 2 years from 2012 till 2014. Then in 2015, I moved to Istanbul.
I bet that's a good combination of becoming a founder and creating your own thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some parts of the military training that helps.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a very tough 2 years. So I don't want to say wasting your time, but it's unnecessary stuff for men. I don't know. So yeah, in 2015, I moved to Istanbul as a permanent resident in here. I started living in here, and I started working in here as well in architectural offices, and I had the chance to have a good access to internet, because back in Iran we didn't have any kind of access like to YouTube, to free sources of internet information. We needed to use VPNs, proxies, or these kind of stuff to connect to YouTube or any other Facebook, for example. So when I came in here, I had a really good use of internet. I started understanding it very well in terms of using it as a social media platform, marketing, and also understanding how to push a brand and how to make a brand, how to push your platform on social media. So by the time that I was trying to develop these kind of stuff, and I was learning, I was researching about platforms, social media, internet, and also I was working as an architect in offices. There was one day in office that I was working on a 3ds Max file, and I was searching for something on YouTube to model it on my own file. So when I was searching for this particular video on YouTube, I saw a video of a parametric design on 3ds Max, which was a YouTube suggestion video. I opened that video, and the girl was a Spanish girl who was describing this video, and I didn't know anything regarding Spanish, and I tried to follow up what was she doing in the video, and I saw this very general parametric tricks about these attractor points, these objects moving, and then the patterns close, and then they got bigger and smaller. And I tried to model it, and I made that exactly the same video on my own screen. After that, I said, maybe I can do this in a kind of a shelter or a kind of pavilion, or maybe it could be an installation, and I did that as well. And I think that's the point when architecture starts, and by inspiring from something, you do get that idea and apply it in architecture scale or design scale, and you try to follow the same idea. And it gave me kind of an interesting thought that maybe I can do a couple of more examples of this and try some kind of new geometrical experiments. And also in that period that I got this video, I started working on some other softwares as well. I learned about Rhino, I learned about Grasshopper. I didn't know what were they before, and I had the chance to learn these softwares at that time as well. Also reading about the articles, learning what parametric design is, what computational design is. And I was generating some basic ideas of parametric stuff that I was learning back then. Then one day I was sitting in the office and I was actually in the toilet, sitting in the toilet. I thought maybe I can open up a page.
Start, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Good ideas came to mind in toilet.
Love it.
Thank you. I then signed up. I said maybe I can have a page called Parametric Architecture and show up my own works over there. Just publish my own works. Who cares? I just signed up from my own account and signed in as a new account, Parametric Architecture. Back then it was taken, Parametric Architecture, and still they have 40,000 followers.
Oh,
but the account was inactive.
Right. I was going to ask, was that available then?
Yes, that was not available. They were opened it before me. I don't know who are the guys actually, but they didn't post anything after 2016. Yeah. I just put one dot in between, so parametric architecture. Yeah, new way of solving problems. So I just opened up that page, and just a couple of people, 6 people, just followed with the name. Then I came back to my to my desk in the office. I started designing a small logo, PA. I just stretched the P, my previous logo. I just stretched the P and made A smaller under the P. I uploaded it. And I tried to upload my own works as well as a couple of first posts. A couple of people just followed. And there was a video that I had made back then. I uploaded that one as well. And all these are happening in 2-3 weeks. I uploaded that video as well. So in 1 hour, it got 2,000 views, which was quite exciting if you have 20 followers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Then it gave me kind of energy. Maybe I can just continue this. Once a week, I can upload my own designs. Who cares? If anyone likes, it's just an inspiration kind of stuff. Then the platform, the page got grow, and after almost 9 months, I think, by uploading one piece of work every week, after 9 months, we got 10,000 followers. And I said to myself, maybe as I'm studying, I'm learning about these new tools, and I'm reading about the projects. Maybe I can do much more than this. Maybe I can provide much more information. What I'm learning, I can just give it back to what I'm learning. So I said, let's not just be selfish and share what I learned as well. And I think that's the point when everything starts to change. You try to give without... I don't want to say say words kind of much more like entrepreneurial stuff or motivational stuff. But when you start to give without expectations, things start to change. And I did start sharing these famous architects or pioneering designers who are really investing their time on these tools. And like good projects and trying to collect a library of good works related to parametric architecture, parametric design, and also computational design. And this kind of made me to, first of all, recognize and get to know about all these designers, all these pioneers. And I've got to know about their own signatures. Like when I'm scrolling down on Instagram feed, I can easily understand whose work is this, or who's the designer, whose style is this. And as I did this more every day, the platform got bigger. And I did have no expectations from anyone to give any anything to the platform or charge for money or charge anything. I was working in an office, and I was gaining nothing in regards to doing this platform. And I had my own salary in the office. I didn't want it to. I was not even thinking of having income from this platform. So I was all doing it for free. And this kept going, and in 2 years, 3 years, we got 200, 300 followers. I don't want to say followers is a good way of measuring a success or to become a good platform. It's not definitely a good measure, but the number of the collaborations, the number of the events, talks, workshops, our website, all the activities that we have developed after that, it's kind of a good sign of that 5 years or 6 years that I invested my time, it's just worth it. And it got what we are, where we are right now. And then just platform just get bigger and doing it daily, on a daily basis, giving information, sharing projects. And before us, there was no kind of centralized platform who was just sharing anything regarding to computational and parametric design. And everyone just was working on their own stuff. They were working on their own projects. They wanted to say, okay, this is the parametric design, or the other architect wanted to say, or this is the parametric design, computational design. We're doing it better. But bringing everything together as building up a library of good works, that was our one of my first goals back then. And after 5 years, I think we have achieved it quite well.
Yeah, man! Wow, what a build up. It all began with Instagram, right? Instagram has been the primary platform.
Absolutely, absolutely. It all began from Instagram in 2016, 13 March 2016. And as the platform was going forward and I was getting more information regarding social media, how to become a much more successful brand, then we started spreading on other platforms as well. We had even Snapchat channel. We have an active LinkedIn channel, Facebook. We are always updating on every platform.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, and you're almost up to 1 million followers. I checked it today. It's on the horizon, right?
Yes.
It'll be a big
it's on the horizon.
Big celebration. I mean, it's a really interesting story. I mean, to go from 0 to 10,000 in 9 months, that's pretty, like, that itself is pretty incredible. Because
exactly, that's what kept us actually going forward, because I saw that there's a good attention on this topic. If it was like another random name, which you can find thousands of hundreds of pages on Instagram, I don't know, you can see them on search page. If it was like one of those names, it could have not been maybe done this kind of large collaborations or this kind of success over the different platforms. But because of the name, because of there was so much attention on learning these tools from everybody and applying it in your project, that's what kept us growing, and we're really thankful of that.
Oh wow! So you think that because it was like the Parametric, you got the name Parametric Architect, and that was like a big boost, because, you know, people, I guess 2016 was kind of the era of parametrics in a way, I guess, from early, well, I can't put a date on it really, but yeah, you were right in the mix of it, I guess.
Exactly.
So was there any like big milestones that were epic, like the first 1,000? Do you remember like the first 1,000, or did that just fly by? Or, you know, like 10,000 or 100,000? What was like the epic milestones that stick in your mind?
I think a good milestone could be when we reach to 10,000, because 10,000 was, and before 10,000, I was not even thinking of sharing other people's work. And before that, it was just personal portfolio kind of page. But after that, it just changed everything. And as the growth rate was really fast, and for example, in the next 9 months, I think we achieved 100,000 followers, and that was kind of the second, let's say, interesting point that I wanted to reach. But the next is definitely not 200,000 or 300,000. The next thing could be 1 million or more than 1 million.
I mean, yeah, not that it's all about followers, but those things are, those little barriers that you have, or those little milestones, which are really, really nice to see. Yeah, that's incredible. It's incredible growth. I mean, obviously, we just started the ARCHI-TECH network thing, and we're learning the ins and outs of of social media. And it's a interesting kind of part of the architecture world. And so I think that's one thing that would be really interesting. The other thing I wrote down just as you were writing it, as you were talking, was that you were a 3ds Max. That's how you kind of got into the world of 3D, let's say. And actually, that's exactly the same. I started my, let's call it a digital journey in 3ds Max. I started messing around with the modifiers there and V-Ray and 3ds Max, and then went to Rhino and Grasshopper as well. So I was kind of like definitely connected with that starting point.
Absolutely, you're right. I was working on 3ds Max till 2007. From 2007, and I was quite good at it, rendering stuff. But 3ds Max is a kind of limited one. Then after 2015, 16, I transferred to Rhino, Grasshopper, a little bit of Revit, Dynamo as well. But I'm not super deep professional in those tools, as I try to follow the media paths. I left design. I don't design anything anymore. Like, I don't work as an architect anymore. And we don't get projects. We don't design any buildings. And after 2000, literally beginning of the pandemic, we are fully on PA as a media company.
Wow. So you were really working on it for a while before you kind of went full time, which is, again, I can appreciate how much time that takes, as well as having a full time job. It's a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
by the way, you're really doing great with ARCHI-TECH Network, and I think these small talk sessions that you're having with these pioneers, it's really amazing. I had the chance to join a couple of them. I think it's a good platform, and in case of any help, I'm here.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I mean, yeah, we jumped on it through Clubhouse. I mean, this was our starting point. We jumped on this social media platform. We're still not sure where it will go, where Clubhouse is going, but we're in for the ride, for better or for worse. Yes. But yeah, man, I think I definitely connected with what you said. I think we started it for similar reasons. We just want to kind of really share information around architecture and technology, and that it's such a big part of what we do, and there's not really that many people talking about it, apart from people like yourself and a few other kind of prominent platforms. But it's a huge part of, we don't design with pens and pencils anymore, so to speak. Of course, every design starts there, but we are a very digital profession these days, and you can tune it, you can listen all day on YouTube to Bjarke and Zaha and Foster's and all these people talking about design, yes, but not so many talking about technology. So so maybe to move on to the subject of just social media in general, right? How do you feel social media is now playing a role for architects, and especially let's say for young architects and architects in the audience who, are thinking about starting their own practice or even just making a name for themselves, or just, expanding their network. How important do you think it is to have, either your own personal social media to promote your work, or as an emerging firm to have your own social media platform? How do you see this as being important for architects? Or could you see the next, big architect, the next architect, or whatever you want to call it, growing to that size without the use of social media?
Actually, this is really a good question. There was a long time that I really wanted to discuss about this, and in the next, I think 2-3 weeks, we're going to have another workshop talking especially about social media, how and why architects should use social media. So we're working on that workshop as well.
That would be awesome,
really,
actually. Just as you said that, I was like, yeah, you should do a workshop, because there seems like there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes of, like, let's just take Instagram, for example. Like, if you do this, it doesn't go far, or like you can get shadow banned, and, how to tag the right things and say the right things. Like, it's a slow process to kind of learn it all. Is just kind of trial and error.
Exactly. First of all, you can say that everybody just sees that these days social media has a lot of power over doing multiple things, like in economic, in politics, and in architecture, in design. And you cannot never skip these influences, impacts. So first of all, we were all aware of 2016's U.S. elections by claiming that Russia intervened, and that was just by using Facebook target ads, which was Facebook was also responsible for having this feature to for example, Russians were trying to use those Facebook target ads and to impose negative or false news to Hillary Clinton supporters. So that had a huge impact. But also in architecture, you can see good impacts of it and also negative impacts of it. By starting from here, that having an Instagram page doesn't mean you have an architecture office. If you're sharing your own designs, it doesn't mean you're going to get good projects, you're going to be Bjarke Ingels, or you're going to be Frank Gehry or the next Frank Gehry, let's say. Having a good social media platform as an individual architect or as a practice is essential, but it doesn't really support your next project. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to have your next project, but it can give you a good opportunity to have a good impact of your sense of design on other people. It's not a guarantee that you're going to have a good project from social media, but it can give you an opportunity. It can give you a possibility of a client seeing your work on social media. So don't count on social media to get your works. And even our platform had, we are a magazine and we get tons of emails that, do you design this? Can you design that? We want a parametric project. Can you design that? And we always sometimes reject or sometimes pass this to our known companies or friends and friend companies. But it really has a good impact. First of all, as an architect, you should have a social media account. You should have a website, a good website, which if I go there as a client or as a a media company who wants to share your work, you should have all your projects over there. You should have a description about all your projects. You should have a contact information, a website, a good website that represents your company and the structure of your company. These are very crucial things. When we want to share an architect's work, we always first check his Instagram, second, check his website. And if the Instagram is also updated as their website, like the projects are synced, the project that they are sharing on their website is also on Instagram, we are also willing to share that project. So this builds up a good impact that this actually builds up a good sign that you are a structured company and you know what you are doing. And sometimes these architects or architecture firms, they are not quite good at social media, which I can understand. Then they should pass this work to a very good specialist who knows both architecture and also social media. You cannot just give this work to, for example, the intern who has 20,000 followers by doing a modeling role, but you need to give this work to a good architect who also understands social media. And those are really important things. From 2019, at the beginning of 2019 till 2020, I worked as a social media specialist in my previous company as well. And kind of we have boosted their number of followers, the quality of the pages, the posts that were being shared, the presence of the company on social media, their website. I personally designed the website in Adobe XD. Then we try to transfer it as a code for other for the developers as well. So it's really important to do all this stuff in parallel and represent your company and your company's structure in website and also in your social media. Having just shared just final renderings doesn't mean you are a good social media, you are a good architecture company. Never do that. Don't just share final renders or final photos of the projects. Share the process. Share the if you're having a site visit, just share a couple of footages from your site visit. Share some videos. Share some details that you're working on. Share some diagrams or anything that page could be much more active or much more fun to explore. And if you can just go and explore well-known social media architects on social media, for example, let's say a good example of it is Chris Pratt, who's really driving this engagement in his channels, and maybe he's also getting projects from social media. We don't know that, but he is a good example how he's treating his social media and he's pushing the platform.
Yeah, he seems like the most recent, emerging architect that came from Instagram kind of thing. I mean, that's how I came across him. He seemed to explode really quickly. He's got these, beautiful designs and beautiful renders that were really kind of. What's nice about his was that it's Instagrammy, if you know what I mean. It's like visually appealing, but it's also really nice architecture. Yeah,
projects.
It's really nice products.
Yeah.
It's that really, really nice balance. And yeah, I keep bringing him up. I reached out to him to get him on the talk, but one day we'll get him as we grow. We'll get him on. But yeah, he seemed like a great example of maybe like this new generation of kind of. I don't want to say social media architects, but like a next generation of architects that social media was a key component in their growth, so to speak.
Exactly.
So yeah, it for sure seems like a key component to like young architects and architects making a name and starting their own practice. I'm always curious, like, if it really brings in real work. Again, I'd love to ask Chris and obviously yourself. I know you guys aren't an advertised practice, but I'm curious because you can get a lot of, like, I'm sure there's lots of requests, but filtering through how real they are, whether it's just like some dude who wants to, like, thinks they want to build a house, it's going to cost like this much, versus like a real developer or an institution. Or I'm really curious if it does actually bring real world projects to these big practices. Like, I don't know if our big Instagram page brings any work in. I actually don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. As I told you, there is no guarantee in like big developers bring your work from social media, but it's a good opportunity. You can show your work to them. So these CEOs, these founders, definitely they are in social media, and when they do see your work, you have the chance. You're not there to represent yourself to that CEO directly, but your work, social media or Instagram, helps you to represent yourself to that CEO or the founder of a developer company. Myself, in 2017 or 18, I don't quite remember the exact date. We didn't have a good presence on Snapchat, but through PA's Snapchat channel that maybe daily we were sharing 1 or 2 stories over there, we got a project, and I think it was in Kuwait, for 20,000 euros.
Oh.
we just sharing a couple of stories a day, and the guy just messaged me, and I saw the message after 3 days, and I replied, if you want, okay, we can continue on email. Then it was a small project, definitely, just a residential 2-story project, but it worked.
Yeah.
Like, people are really reaching out to you if you're really doing good work. It doesn't matter on which platform, they reach out to you.
Yeah, we haven't joined the Snapchat. I also am not on the whole Snapchat bandwagon or even TikTok, but it seems like there's so many now that it's almost like, which one is the best one to focus on? Because Instagram is so established now,
exactly.
And TikTok seems like the new kids dancing and shit like that. But there's also some really big.
Exactly.
There's some TikTokers. I think there's I'm totally blanking on his name, but he's on Clubhouse quite a lot. Steven, I think it is.
Yes, exactly. One thing about these new social media platforms is some of them are not quite compatible with architecture. Like, video platforms is very hard for architects to align with or to get used to it. Not every architect wants to create a video content, and maybe if they want, maybe they're not good at it. But visuals are quite best type of content that an architect can share. Photos of their work, they can write the text on photo, they can share it as a daily notes, they can draw details and share it as fast as possible. So Instagram from that point is really good platform for architects, and that's one of the reasons we even got bigger on Instagram, not on TikTok. Like, creating video content is very, very hard, and all those people who are really working on TikTok, I've watched some of them doing 8 hours or 10 hours of edits just
it's
to
a
create
lot.
30 seconds of dancing video.
I was going to say, Hamid, are you going to
it's
are
really
you going to
crazy.
start dancing for parametric architecture? You could dress up like a building.
Probably. We don't know.
Maybe that's the next thing.
Next milestone.
The architecture TikTok dance. But
Exactly.
I think there's also, it's not just about landing work as well as it's a huge part of being a successful practice or successful architect is inspiring other people to come work for you, or aspiring, also putting your work out there to inspire others and kind of educate. Maybe it might be around a topic or a technology. So I guess it's not just about bringing work in. It's also about bringing people in and connecting with people, and that's the pros of social media. Like, Hamid, you and I, we've never met before, but we've spoke a few times for a few different things purely through social media. Faisal as well, we've never actually physically met, and we've kind of developed this friendship
Exactly.
over social media. Guillaume, we met physically, and then moved to digital world. So, I mean, those are the pros, but what about to play devil advocate and talk about the role of social media and the effects of social media, not necessarily on the negative side, but the kind of effect of it on
The cons.
let's on architecture. So I think Faisal does have a question. If he's got if his connection is good, he can tune in a sec. Otherwise, I'll read it out. But I was also going to ask, like,
Yeah, can you guys
hey,
hear me?
Faisal, yeah. Do you want to shoot with your
Can you hear
question
me?
to kick this part off?
Hey, yeah, what's up, Hamid?
Hey,
So I
Faisal.
wanted to ask you, so you have like, you pretty much have the biggest avant-garde platform in the world, right? With parametric architecture, and it
Right.
influences probably millions of students and architects around the world. Have you thought about sort of the impact you have on the future of architecture? And if so, like, where are you planning to take us? Where are we going?
With great power comes great responsibility, Hamid. Yeah.
Exactly. Once I was interviewing Chris Precht in 2018, I think. He said, I asked, what do you think about our platform? He said, you've got a lot of followers. You need to know what you're doing. So that was a good point for me to get a feedback from a good architect regarding our platform. And the thing is, one of the disadvantages of social media is also to spread the wrong information as fast as the right information as well, or spread not a good video in a short amount of time, or not high quality architecture in a short amount of time. So one of the disadvantages is that sometimes we see the projects that are being done for the sake of the software, for the sake of the ability of the software, and we really don't like that. What we're trying to promote is really to use the power of computation in projects, and we can promote that one in the social media, in on our website. But sometimes this can go wrong, and everyone who wants to use parametric softwares, they do the same style or the same technique over and over and over again. But that's not kind of a new thing that they're trying to do. But we really don't like this, and we avoid to share the similar ideas that are being copy-pasted from each other over and over again. And also these new emerging architects, they are just using, some of them, not all of them, they are using the power of software because the software gives the ability. So there's no developing idea at the back end or in behind the project. There's no space created by using this software. It was just copy pasted from the previous ideas. We try to avoid that very much. And also the second thing about the impact of our presence in social media, or our presence and generally on the internet, what we try to promote is to use these softwares to solve problems, like to solve data problems, to calculate and get optimized projects, much more optimized plans, facades. And this could somehow help for the environment, somehow could help for the level or the quality of the people who are living in these buildings. So this is one of our main goals, to support good projects, give good information, give good knowledge about these tools, so architects can use them to generate good projects. And that's where we are headed now. And we are doing this by multiple activities, interviews, conferences, workshops, sharing projects, and whatever we can, we are doing.
So
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sorry. I just wanted to ask, Hamid, I was in here earlier. My connection was bad, but did you share your story about how you started PA? I think you have one of the best stories.
we went
Yes,
through
I
the whole
did.
timeline. It was good.
All right.
I think, I was going to ask us on a similar track of like two things, not necessarily specifically parametric architecture, but just the role of, let's just say, Instagram, for example, on architecture. Like, it's something that we're all plugged into, and it's almost becoming like this zeitgeist of all the architecture in the world right now. So like before, you'd have, some dude in Sweden, you'd have someone in America, someone in India, and all that kind of stuff. They would never really be connected by the same inspiration, let's say. And therefore, is it kind of, are we all becoming a little bit tuned into the same thing? Like, we can be influenced by the same thing. And then the other kind of thought is to become popular, or like to play the algorithm game, let's say, on Instagram, it kind of promotes, or people kind of gravitate to extravagant, let's call it Instagrammy architecture, which is not necessarily pinned with real world, or like what the world needs right now in terms of architecture. So is it influence architects to be more, let's use the term Instagrammy, than real world architecture, if that makes sense? Is social media kind of pushing architects, and especially younger architects, in a different direction than we necessarily should be going? If that makes sense?
No, I totally understand your question, and this is a good concern regarding using of social media. To answer your second part of the question first, I was talking to Farshid Musavi, who is really good architect. They were together at AA with Remco Laus, and I'm sure you know about her. And she was also talking about this point, that we had a couple of hotel projects that the client wanted us to design Instagrammable designs, like, so they could have much more Instagrammable shots being shared on Instagram and social media as interior and also exterior projects. So this is I don't know, I don't want to say a negative or positive impact, but this is the impact that social media is having. Or trying to have some kind of curvatures in your project that gives more engagement when you're sharing it as a render. Or these are the things that we are seeing in the impact of social media or Instagram in architecture. And also, as I told before, we are somehow trying to avoid that as well, which are created for the sake of the ability to share on social media, or share on to show just the ability of the software.
Yeah.
I can really understand this. There are also thousands of pages are sharing all of these works without knowing the knowledge, without having the knowledge of is this a good work, or is this a project worth sharing, or is it just to drive engagement to their channel? So we're so aware of that, and we try to avoid it. But for the first part, I forgot the first part actually.
The first part was, I definitely know what you mean about there's like requests for Instagrammable moments in a design. I think that doesn't seem to like concern me too much, because it's really, you're just designing an interesting moment in the building. The only thing that's new is now people take photos of that moment and then it becomes an Instagrammable moment. But that Instagrammable moments, in theory, always existed in buildings. Those were the wow moments. I think what the first part of my question I was getting at was like, it's almost like basically, is Instagram a huge influencer in architecture in general? Because every architect, or like I'm assuming the majority of architects have Instagram. Like me, I end up spending you just spend like 30 seconds and then you blink and you're like, you've been on there for like 5-10 minutes, and you're kind of absorbing all this, like all these images you see, and whether it's consciously or subconsciously, it's kind of it's in my mind as a designer. If I put my design hat on, it's in my mind, and I can't help, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, you're going to be influenced by that. So, and those images are promoted because of Instagram's algorithm. I know Faisal is quite interested in this, is like how algorithms are influencing everything in our life. So it's almost like, and Pinterest as well, like Pinterest, Instagram, are these things like this, the big hub, the Skynet of like architecture and design? And I almost wonder, like, if I wanted to be like, come up with the most original, authentic ideas as an architect, should I not go on social media, because otherwise I'll be consciously or subconsciously influenced by it?
Yes, true. Talking about this algorithm, they can definitely sometimes promote and try to impose you, this is a good thing. Or, for example, the Reels that they launched recently, and after they launched, all the platforms who are not sharing Reels, their growth have dropped by, I can say, 70%.
This is
and
tips.
That's a huge impact.
Yeah.
That's a huge impact. This is also a tip from the workshop. So that's a huge impact to force everyone. So they're trying to manipulate all these pages, people's lives. Not also in architecture, they're also manipulating people's lives to record Reels, to share Reels. And first of all, it impacted the pages, the large pages. They don't share anything regarding Reels or videos. And they also impact the people. Those models who don't share anything, these kind of stuff, their growth dropped down by 70%. So they're pushing to use the new feature in the platform. And if we would not share any Reel for 1 week, for example, our growth rate will drop down for 70%. And I can totally understand what are you talking about regarding these algorithms. We had a term in Turkey as well, which got popular, Pinterest architect. And they were all pinning and throwing these Pinterest images to their staff. Okay, create something like this to me, or design something like this, render something like this for me. And I was so annoyed when I was working as an architect in 2017, 16, 18. My chief architect was also doing the same thing with me, but without understanding the location of the project, without understanding the needs of that project that I cannot apply to this project. So those are kind of negative impacts of these algorithms that I don't know how they're going to be solved, but there's no solvable solution for this maybe.
To solve it,
but the thing is, you can always get educated, yes, You can always get educated and to know what is good, what is not good to use as inspiration. Definitely,
it seems
I
like
totally
we
agree with
are in
that.
an era just like zooming out of architecture where like social media was great in the early 2009 2010 when all these things started emerging. 10 years later we're just like I should say with elections and like we just seem in such a crazy time right now. And
Yeah.
yeah, social media does seem to play a huge role in it. I think people also still don't understand the power of social media and how it actually works. Like, my Facebook feed is not at all the same as Hamid's, for example. And there's a specific reason why. Like they know the kind of people we are, like what's gonna interest me, what's gonna interest Hamid, and like where he is, where I am. It's not a coincidence that these things pop up. And I think still people don't quite understand that part. I know
Absolutely.
we got Said and Richard came up. I think maybe this is a good time to jump into a couple of questions. Said, did you have something you want to add in or ask a question? Or
Hello, Oli and Hamid and everyone. Thank you for the talk. It's great. So I have a question regarding the business of parametric architecture. As you said, Hamid, it's after 9 months you've reached 10,000. So and I know your website. You have different sources of revenue, such as courses and probably other ads and everything. Without entering into the details, I'm just curious to know about the business side of it, the economics. If you can share more about it with us, it would be great and appreciated. Thank you.
That's a good question, actually. Till 2020 and before pandemic, we had zero income from the platform. Like for 4 years, I did it for free and a side hustle. But in 2020, and with the pandemic, everything changed. I got fired from my daily job because of certainly obvious things, and they wanted to become a part of or a partner for our platform, and that was an unfair request that I rejected. So I've been fired from my office also in the
wow,
pandemic. So
I
I had
didn't
no,
know.
yeah, I had no chance to use what I had in my hand to generate income, to have some new kind of
But
business
by
ideas. To
2020,
first of all,
I mean the platform was still pretty huge. What you must have been like? How many? What was the size of the Instagram page in 2020 to give us at the start of 2020?
yeah, I think around
Oh wow.
500,000 from at the
Wow,
start
so
of
you've almost
2020.
doubled.
Yeah, we
You've
were
almost
so
doubled
huge,
since
but
since the start of the pandemic.
yes,
Wow, that's incredible.
exactly, almost doubled. And because I was somehow afraid of going it full time. It was just half, like 5-6 hours a day when I was working in the office, and that me getting fired from the architecture office was a drive force for me to generate income, to stay on my own and having some income from it. So I started kind of doing talks, conversations. The website just got a little bit bigger. These conferences, then we started Academy as doing courses. So Academy didn't start actually to generate income, but it started along with giving the right information regarding these platforms and training the people regarding these tools are not platform. Yeah, Academy started to giving the right information regarding these tools, and I was not trying to come there and teach what is Grasshopper, what is Rhino, but I was trying to bring this capability and this possibility of, for example, Arthur Mamamani can come and teach in short period of time, and whoever wants to learn from Arthur Mamamani, they can have that possibility of joining the studio. So that was the basic idea of Academy. But after the pandemic and I got fired, I started these talk sessions, interviews, this conference. These were built a new kind of business models to generate income for the platform. And also beside that, the website is a huge source of income for us as well, which we get advertisements, which we get articles published, giving links, backlinks, and also the ranking of our website has gone from 4 million in Alexa ranking to 700,000 these days, which is not quite good ranking, but coming from 4 million to 700 is also a huge step. And as you go up in the ranking from 700, for example, the number one is Google, the number of visitors go up, the number of the ads that the visitors see, and you get much more income from that as well. So these are the type of the businesses that we have around PA, and we're continuing.
That's super interesting. I'm surprised that
Right.
you only started generating a revenue in 2020, because this seems like a huge platform. I assume there was like much of a way to get revenue from Instagram. Really, it's not. There's only like sponsors and things like that, right?
No, we get sponsored publications as well, but you can never see, like you can never understand which post is sponsored or which is not, because we never get unrelated sponsorship posts. We never, no matter how much they offer, like those, I don't know, you've seen thousands of watch brands or these kind of stuff. They reach to us. We never get those kind of stuff, but we share projects related to architecture and design. We get sponsored posts from that one as well, but that's not our main income. It is a part of income. Maybe we can say 20%, 25, 15%. It drops and goes up, but main income is website, the activities that we do. And also Instagram.
Interesting. Thanks for the question, Said. That was a great insight. Richa, I see you had your hands up. Do you want to jump in? Good to see you again, as always.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's really good to see you back again. So I have 4 questions which I've shortlisted, and I'll go for first 2 and then first the other 2. So
let's go one by one.
Okay. So
I can forget the first question if you go to second.
Yeah, that happened with Ollie. Yeah. So like you are like really good influencer for us architects, and being me young. So I look forward to, for designs and for a lot of knowledge on the PA page and everything. Now, one question that always come to my mind, because you guys sit with a lot of, renowned people around the community. So do these renowned recruiters or collaborators look to a social media as a part of, guarantee or influential candidate?
Do they look or do we look?
Do they look? We to keep on, following here and there and try to figure out.
Yes, definitely.
Do they also look?
Definitely, because there was time I reached out, for example, to some of these architects we have interviewed now, and they are good friends now. There were times which we had reached when we were, for example, 100,000 followers, and they didn't even check our messages. They saw our messages, they didn't even bother themselves to reply. So, but after we got some renowned architects, some steps going and showing what we are doing, we were an interview. In the second or third attempt, they just got back to us. Yes, it's really important to have good presence and good presence in social media, and show what you are doing. For example, before reaching out to Peter Eisenman, I needed to have some kind of small interview. So you cannot just go with Peter Eisenman in your first episode. You should keep it, for example, in episode 20, episode 15, episode 25. Before the pandemic, we were doing some interviews. And after it started, we invited well-known architects. And before even well-known architects, we invited a couple of less well-known. I don't want to say less well-known, but step by step. It should be step by step.
Up and coming.
Yes. Yeah. For example, David Basulto, I've talked to him a lot on Instagram, but those first days he was never replying me. But I don't want to say I was spamming her. I was spamming him, but when we met in Amsterdam and everything got changed, and we're really good friends these days. We did a couple of Instagram clubhouse sessions as well. So it takes time. You shouldn't be hurrying on doing what you are doing. You should give it time and wait for the right time. It's so important to wait for the right time. A lot of people do things and they don't wait for the right time to come. So that's a kind of poison if you want to do everything at once and the next week you just don't have the energy to continue it. So you need to do everything step by step in the right time and have that consistency in the whole process.
Thanks.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
So that was one.
I got the point. Yeah, that was one. The other comes here is, like PA has a lot of type of, content creation. It may be a reel or it can be a picture, it can be podcast. So which one in terms of analytics is the most engaging for you till now?
If you're asking regarding reels, posts, stories, videos, IGTV, is this your question, or the type of the questions asking, for example, interviews, projects? Which one is your question?
So primarily it was the first one, but I guess, we can address that also, because like a different platform, maybe you can talk about, YouTube or Instagram, and then whichever.
So these days,
my question is primarily the first part.
Okay, these days it's definitely reels. Even not good videos can go viral and bring you a lot of, first of all, likes, a lot of followers as well. But second thing is really the normal posts. Normal posts are good, and I always check when I open Instagram. Let's say, for example, in the morning after get up, do my sports and come back home. The first 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I think I go through the feed. Then I go through the stories, who has shared what, where are they? So these are the things that you do normally. But I go through the feed and they bring a lot of engagement to the platform. Reels, then posts.
Okay. So third question goes that we are social animals and we look up to some people or something. So which page do you look for inspirations?
What's your favorite Instagram page outside of PA?
Let me think. I haven't really think of that. But any page that I check regularly.
You can come back to it, I think.
I don't have, actually. I can come back maybe
PA
later.
is following
I need to think of it.
245 people, so you can find out the answer there. Or or you can go to Hamid's personal page. There you go.
Yeah.
I assume it is ARCHI-TECH network.
Yes, definitely, for sure. I love what Ali and Gilamo and Faisal
Thank
are
you.
doing. I really looking to Instagram page as well. But generally, if I'm looking for inspiration regarding architecture, it's architect and design, product pages, our second page, design therapy. But I look for architects page a lot to see what they are doing. If there's any new project that they are working on, we should be aware and to have some news, some information regarding those projects. We do look a lot, and if, for example, if you're an architect, definitely we have checked your page, and all these platforms are checking as well. So don't think that your page is not being seen by anybody. So it's being checked, definitely.
Okay. This brings me to the last question. So, which open source or automated tools you use for your networks? And any publishing that you made on your social media and that has made a real
That's a good
impact or
question,
real
actually. Yeah, I was searching for the same thing today, actually. What's the best way to, like, or not automate, but like post Instagram without using your bloody phone? It's a nightmare.
Like open source platform, you mean what kind of platforms?
Like Canva, Posterverse, or like there's something
Where
like
you can like
Campus
schedule when
Spring,
things are
something
being
like that.
posted and things like that. Is that what you mean?
Okay. If that's yes, I can answer that. Yes.
Yeah.
So for social media metrics, especially for Instagram, we are using Social Blade, which gives kind of good metrics of the number of followers you get daily, the growth, monthly growth, the number of the posts you share in a month. Then there is also authenticator. Hype Auditor. It was good until a couple of months ago. They stopped working. I don't know why. Hype Authenticator. Hype Auditor. Hype Auditor. They had a good metrics of giving you a good metrics of your page. They had a lot of details in there, but generally we don't use any kind of automated apps or anything. We use Facebook's Creator Studio, which is fully developed these days, and it's quite new thing. Like it's maybe 5 or 6 months old as we discovered it. Maybe it's older, I don't know. But Facebook's Creator Studio is very powerful tool. You can schedule your posts. You can have a lot of information regarding your posts, how many times they've been seen, and you can schedule your entire month, when everything can be shared, even your stories. So it's really powerful tool, and we never used scheduled posts before, and we were always trying to post on time. Like if you were seeing we posting at 5 p.m., definitely we posted at the same time. But nowadays we try to use Facebook Creator Studio to schedule our posts, which gives us ability of a little bit of freedom during the day, but yet I love to post at the same time. Like I love to check, I love to write the text, I love to tag, I love to select photos, and if I have the time, definitely I'm doing
That's it.
on time.
So my
Hamid.
question here
Go on,
was
Richard.
when you sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, so my question was like when you talk about your post, so do you make on Illustrator or you just go for some app that does it for you and you have your set template?
No, we don't use any kind of those. We don't manipulate the photos, for example. We don't need to work them on any other app or Illustrator or Photoshop. But for example, to use to merge a couple of photos together, we use online cloud-based platforms. For example, Adobe Spark on internet. We don't need to use Photoshop. We use Adobe Spark, or if you want to convert photos to each other, we use also online platforms. But yeah, Adobe Spark is also a huge part of our work as well. And also in phone, InShot is a good app. Photogrid, and yeah, we use these 3 apps a lot.
Yeah.
Hamid, is Facebook Creator Studio free, or is it paid? Because I know there's similar apps that are sort of scheduling apps, but you have to pay for them. Do you know if
Yeah,
is this completely free?
yeah, it's totally free. And for example, there's Buffer, which is a paid app. You need to pay monthly. I think $200 or so, as I remember, which you can post on different platforms. For example, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm not sure if they support Pinterest, but there's these kind of platforms. But Creator Studio is only and only for Facebook and Instagram, and it's for free. They don't charge for anything.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm definitely gonna check it out. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Creator
you're
Studio
giving
is
away a
amazing.
lot of great information here. I'm literally taking notes. Like, I didn't know about the Reels thing. I didn't know it had such an impact on growth of Instagram on growth of Instagram accounts. Because I knew the same thing happened with Stories. When Stories first came out, like the accounts that posted Stories got the most shares, right? I didn't know it was the
Yes,
same with Reels, but yeah, that's
yes.
great, man. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, Reels are crazy these days. And if you're not using it, you should
I had
start
heard something
posting
about it, and
as Reels.
we've just started using Reels on ATN, where we're posting our it's called project programs, where like architects submit the programs they use for the specific products, and it's been really interesting to see how that's like some of them go a little bit crazy for us, which is like 1,000 or 2,000. But you could really see there was something different about when you used Reels versus the normal stuff. Like we posted it simultaneously, post, story, and Reel,
Yes.
and the Reel will do like, if you're talking about numbers, like 10 times the story or post or something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And generally, because architecture has less attention regarding to other profession. For example, if PA, the name was also PA as a model, it would have a lot much more engagement rates rather than being an architecture page. Generally, architecture is not at the forefront of people's interest. But yes, also we need to get inside the reels as well, at least to have some impact. It shouldn't be just for about dances or getting yeah, that's something that we cannot always create videos of architecture projects. That's weird to to create always videos, but I love photos. And somehow we're trying
Awesome.
to have
We'll
reels
do
as well.
one more question. We've got Georgie from his own platform, the Creative Insider. That's Georgie. How's it going? Good to have you on. I
Hi
was just looking
guys,
at your. I was
my
just
first
looking at your
time
profile.
on
I was
Club.
like, is that Georgie
On,
from
on,
Creative Insider? So welcome to Clubhouse.
yeah, my podcast. I wouldn't have shouted out myself because I don't like to do publicity if it's not
No,
like
it's all good. It's all good here.
expected. But I was listening to the whole chat. I was listening to the whole chat, and I was very, could relate to most of the points. I wanted to ask Hamid because, as Oliver said, I'm doing this podcast as well now, more than a year. He was also at one of the episodes, and I do architecture on the side. I work as an architect, and I do my own projects and so on. And I wanted to ask you, how do you balance content creation and getting after all these platforms, and in the meanwhile still be an architect? Or is it for you now more like you switch to the side of sort of content creation media? Because sometimes it feels overwhelming to be like doing social media, and then I don't know, sometimes I don't like doing social media. I would like to do something like architecture related, and social media feels a little bit like a waste of time. So how do you balance like the actual work as an architect and doing content?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I have a lot of answer for that. But I won't get take so I won't describe it. Answer your question a lot because I'm sure you all are tired. But the thing is, I was working as an architect till 2020. And also having my own platform, creating content as a side hustle. So, and I loved design and architecture a lot, that I didn't have the capacity after 2018 or 19 to sit and work on a project. I didn't have that love anymore to work just on one project rather than checking thousands of projects. So being on social media, creating content, reading about the projects gave me the ability to gain much more knowledge rather than working on just one project. I love design. I love to sit and work on architecture projects, but that's not the whole thing, and that doesn't end there. That architecture project that I was working on, I would spend thousands of hours to remodel it or change the details or re-render it for hundreds of revisions, for hundreds of presentations. So that kind of gave me a negative impact that that's not just architecture. That's I don't want to say this term. I'm really sorry, really sorry. That's kind of modern slavery. Like you because you have this software in your hand, and instead of giving one alternative or two alternatives of work to the client, now you have this fast software. They want 10 alternatives, and it gives you much more time to work on them. Like it needs much more time to work on them because clients want this, also that, also the other one, also to see if you do the other thing in the project. So you have a lot of revisions, you have a lot of things to do in one project. So that kind of gave me a negative impact that I don't want to work as an architect anymore. And I loved architecture too much that I couldn't get away from that. So I started continuing just content creation and focusing on this platform from the beginning of 2020. And there's a saying that also, an English term, if I'm right, you cannot sit with one ass into two toilets. So you need to focus on just one work. You cannot do that. Like you cannot run two businesses at the same time if you are just one who runs them, right? You need to just focus on that. Maybe you need to leave architecture and focus on just content creation and your interviews, or you need to leave your interviews to just do architecture. If you love both, you need to hire people to do that one as well for you. And that how you can do that is to generate income from your content creation as well. So you need to support the side hustle as well, and also work as an architect. So that's very complicated thing to do. maybe if you just work as a content creator and then if your platform got grow, you can have your architecture office and work on the projects as well. But that's when your content creation platform got bigger, has its own stability in terms of business, and you can focus on other things as well. So what I had to decide was choosing to work as an architect or choose to work as a content creator or run this platform, which I ended up choosing the second option.
Yeah, I understand. And also sometimes we end up like hooked on this idea that we are architects, and stopping being an architect can be like scary because it's who you are for the whole time, like for all this time through studies and after at the profession. So I can understand you like having hard times leaving the job.
Yeah, but I would suggest also not to worry about leaving architecture, because we also need architects in other disciplines, in interdisciplinary disciplines as well. You cannot expect just a developer working for you to code a grasshopper, okay? You need to train an architect to use that, because that architect who understands developing stuff and also architecture could generate much more good designs for you rather than just relying on developer. For example, this was just a very good example. Or you don't need to have a very good social media specialist who is not architect. You don't need particularly that one. You need someone who is also architect, who can run a social media platform, because architecture is kind of connected to art, the feelings, the inner understandings of architecture. You cannot describe these who didn't study architecture. So it's better to have architects separating to other interdisciplinary works as well, interdisciplinary disciplines as well. So we can have a better tools. Just one second. So we can have better tools and better understanding of our things that
Yeah, I
we
can
are
definitely
using.
relate to having a few things going on. But I mean, I think one way I've so
Yeah.
far been juggling a few things work is that it's just one. You know, you're just making yourself a better architect. Like, obviously, I work full time. I do this architect network. I also have my own little design think tank, but it's all very interlinked. Like, you know, in practice, big is where I kind of implement and test that technologies do or do not work. Architect network is where I kind of share some of my own knowledge of technology. And my own design is very technology driven. Like, the reason why I can do projects on the side is because I utilize a lot of computation and streamline the design process a bit. So my advice from my little experience so far, which may or may not work out, is to try and link these things together very closely. So really, they're just different outputs. Like your podcast, you're learning a lot from your podcast by talking, and I'm sure that that's making you a better architect at the same time. So
Absolutely. To give one hint for the podcast is, I learned a lot with the
yeah,
podcast of talking with Mario Karpo, Chris Pratt, Farda Kolatan. Those days back then, when I was interviewing also Peter Eisenman, we had pre-interview meeting. He taught me a lot of things in that 1 hour of pre-meeting. So these are also the things that when you do these activities, you learn much more things rather than just leaving them. Okay, this is just a podcast. No, it's not just a podcast. It's a learning school. It's a learning platform. And we see all these activities that we are doing as a learning platforms for ourselves as well.
Yeah, I understand. It's true. And I've had the opportunity to talk with architects on my podcast that have ended up being something else. For example, lately I've been talking to some guys that move to like Adidas and work for Adidas, or I had Steven Rubio who's doing the Show It Better, and he was saying that there were so many um, you can partner with some softwares that require actually architects that, as you said before, can actually use like video editing and After Effects and stuff like that.
Exactly, that's true. For example, in our office, whoever we look forward to join our office, they need to be architect and also understand or know Adobe Premiere or Adobe After Effects or Adobe Photoshop. So it's really hard to work on this. For example, with our platform, if you're not an architect, you should have that understanding of what architecture is, then to be able to work with us as a editor, as a video editor or content editor. So we're really sensitive on that.
All right, I like the
I
question,
get it.
Georgie. Thanks for. Hamid, I know we've had you for an hour and a half, so I don't want to keep you any longer. You're probably burning out. But this has been awesome. I think it's been super interesting to pick your brain, and you've given us a lot of top tips. I guess one last thing, if there's anyone out there that wants to submit to PA their projects, what's the best way to do it? Is it reach out via Instagram or through the website? How can they submit stuff to you guys?
Yeah, of course, Instagram is the quickest way, but we cannot check every message that is pending in our inbox. But definitely, we check our inbox if we receive any new project, if they worth sharing, and if it is a good project, we will never miss to share it. Definitely check our website, parametric-architecture.com/submit project. Is the best link
so go to the website,
project
submit your project, and fingers crossed you'll get featured. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining today. It's really interesting to have you with your huge platform give some tips and stuff like that. So I'll definitely be picking your brain soon to get some advice for ATN as we slowly grow. And for those of you who are here with ATN, we have these talks now uploaded to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as we just launched our YouTube channel, of course, which is slowly growing, and we post the talks there. So if you missed any in the past, just follow the link on our Instagram page, and you can see some of the previous ones we've done. Otherwise, Hamid, thank you again for joining us. We'll be back next week to talk about the metaverse with Faisal and possibly some other guests. Otherwise, have a great Sunday, guys. Thank you for all joining, and we'll talk next week.
Thank you so much for the invitation. And before ending the conversation, I just wanted to thanks to my team, and I see Mahtab from my team our team is also here. So thanks, a huge shout out to our team, and I thank you, Oli, Faisal, and Angela for the invitation. I'm looking forward.
Hopefully, I'll see you in Istanbul one day in the near future.
Yeah, sure, man.
Sure.
Just give me a call.
All right, dude. Thanks, everyone. Have a great Sunday, and we'll speak soon.